Chairman. Gentlemen, first of all, thank you for coming before the committee today. We do appreciate it. As you know, there have been numerous reports of suspicious activity by U.S. adversaries in regards to U.S. agricultural land purchases. In 2020, a Chinese-linked company planned to build a wind energy farm project near Del Rio, Texas, only miles away from Laughlin Air Force Base, where U.S. pilots are trained. And in 2022, a CCP-linked company attempted to build a corn milling plant on farmland near a sensitive Air Force base outside of Grand Forks, North Dakota. My question to Mr. Singh to begin with, in your experience as a former Deputy National Security Advisor for International Economics, how might foreign investment in U.S. ag land and companies by adversarial nations, particularly China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran, how could that impact our national security, especially if in close proximity to military installations?
Well, thank you, Senator. Food security is economic security. Food security is national security. I think it's as simple as that. The supply chain for food in this country has to be treated with the utmost importance in the same way that we do with foundational technologies, in the same way that we do with energy and manufactured goods. You've added an additional layer of concern, which is that if the land that is built or in a greenfield investment is used for the purpose of spying, that raises an additional level of concern. And so CFIUS has the capacity to require notification for the acquisition of land above a certain threshold. It can bring in the experts to determine whether a national security risk is implicated. And that strikes me as a reasonable way forward.
Thank you. Mr. Lowry, we have bipartisan legislation. In fact, Senator Tester and I have it together. It's called the PASS Act, and that would prohibit China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea from purchasing U.S. ag land and agricultural companies, as well as adding the Secretary of Ag as a standing member of the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, CFIUS. The agricultural industry is, in my opinion, a significant part of not just my home state's economy, but nationally, and making it a true potential target for foreign investment, particularly when you add in the geographic specifics that we've identified in the last two specific issues. How might legislation like the PASS Act help protect this very important sector, particularly in these geographic locations?
Thank you, Senator. I don't know the specifics of your legislation, but from what you just described, I think that the issue to think about is a couple-fold. One is, as Mr. Singh kind of alluded to, CFIUS does have the ability under FIRMA, the law that was passed to reform CFIUS back in 2018 and the regulations in 2020, to look at greenfield investments in agricultural spots that provide a national security nexus. So in terms of a few things. One is if the Department of Agriculture should be part of CFIUS, that's something I think that's a very reasonable idea. Right now, if there is an agricultural aspect to a transaction, agriculture can be brought in by CFIUS, and it has been in the past. But that doesn't mean it shouldn't be more of a regular operation as opposed to kind of an ad hoc type of thing. In terms of a prohibition on specific countries and investments, I would have to really look at it. I have my concerns about that because I do believe strongly in the ability for countries to and entities to invest in the United States, because I think that is actually a positive for the United States. So I'm a little reluctant on suggesting outward absolute prohibitions, but I think that, without seeing the legislation, I think that would be my caution, I guess.
Thank you. And the reason why I ask is because the prohibition was specific to those associated with China and North Korea, Russia in particular right now, and I think that's a huge part of it, and Iran. And particularly because I can't imagine why any of us would want them to be able to purchase farmland in particular, particularly if it was an area that was near a sensitive geographic location. And it surprised us that those particular two areas that I had identified earlier had actually gone as far as they did before they were where it stopped. So I appreciate that, and thank you for your comments. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Senator. Senator Test.